Hello, welcome to Be the Boss of Your Money. I'm Mitch Goldberg. We have a couple things to go over. It may seem like we're just talking about the same thing over and over, and that is this constant upward move. It's like a glacier, just nothing stops. It just this glacial move in interest rates higher. It was pretty quick, but now it's just like a slow, steady climb up, and there's nothing that could stop it. There is so much momentum. Um, there's so much momentum behind rising rates, and it's it's hurting the stock market. And I don't really see what gets us out of this loop until we see a sign that is a welcome relief for the Federal Reserve, a welcome relief that inflation will not be persistently strong for the rest of this year. I mean, everything has changed from January. January, we had that nice month. Inflation was going to moderate very quickly. Employment was going to come down. Wages were going to stop going up so fast. And, we haven't gotten those things. Employment is strong. Wages continue to rise. The consumer price index, the PCE, the consumer expenditure, the PPI, retail sales for January. And nothing's really telling us that the Fed's interest rate hikes are taking a toll yet on the economy. The Fed wants to slow the economy and bring down inflation. Now, if the Fed has to choose recession and bringing down inflation, or letting inflation run rampant but not going into a recession, it will choose tamping down inflation and sending the economy into a recession every time. That's the playbook. That has always been the case. It shouldn't come as a shock if we do go into a recession, but it shouldn't come as a shock if we don't go into recession. And that's why this is so tough. I can give you the most compelling reasons to be bearish on the economy, on the stock market, but I could give you the most compelling reasons for the opposite. It's hard to pick a direction. So what I am really pushing is this whole Zen patience thing for investors, and to focus on the things that really matter to you, in particular your personal finance. So having said that, every day I come to you with what I think are the most interesting stories in finance. I use these stories to weave a lesson, because I don't just invest money for people. I want to help people make their money work hard for them, because you're working hard for your money. I want your money to work hard for you. I feel very strongly that the more educated you are about investing, about how the market and the economy works and how personal finance works and how all this comes together, the more likely that you will develop an investment plan, financial plan that is more appropriate for you, and the more likely you'll stick with it. Because what good is a financial plan if you can't stick with it? What good is having investments if you can't stick with them? And speaking of that, we've got a couple of things to go over, but Novavax. Do you remember Novavax? That was one of the biggest, hottest, best stocks you could own during the pandemic. They were, Novavax is a vaccine maker. Stock was like $300 a share, and now it's $6. And the company expressed potential to not being able to remain as a going concern. There were all of those pandemic stocks have just been obliterated. People keep going back to them every time there's a bounce, because people kind of, they go back to what worked last. I have never found that to be a good strategy, which is why I avoided them in the first place. During the pandemic, every single day I went over the pandemic stocks versus the reopening stocks. And I showed you the charts and graphs, what it takes for the S&P 500 to break out, which would send us on our way higher. And we did all that. We did it very accurately. And if you followed the show, you would have done quite well. And you would have held on to your gains. You would have just bought some hot pandemic stock, which we avoided. We're not interested in, Hulu, because the stay-at-home work from home stocks. My experience was based on the my experience, especially based on the 2000 tech wreck, that these hot trends don't last. Like the pot stocks that got hot for a while. I see it now happening with artificial intelligence stocks. We're going to take a look at that. Bank of America put together a list of their artificial intelligence stocks. I want to show you that list, and we're going to make a very important observation about that list, and it'll be really eye-opening, kind of boring too, for that matter. But let's roll the intro. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to look at the hero stocks of the day and the not so hero stocks of the day. We're going to take a look at a couple of things. It's going to be a really good educational show today. So I'm going to roll the intro. Stick around. This is going to be a really good one today. We're going to move at a fast pace. And, I want to get on and off in about the next 10 minutes. So here we go. All right. Thank you for joining me. I'm Mitch Globerg. You're watching Be the Boss of Your Money, because I want you to be the boss of your money. It's about taking control of your money. It's about making better decisions. It's very easy to lose control of your money, and it feels like your money or lack of money is controlling you. More money, by the way, is not the answer to your lack of control of money, to your personal finance. Thinking that more money is a solution to your money problems. Let me explain something to you, because you'd be wrong if you think that. For most of you, anyway, you're wrong, and you're going to be like, "Oh, why would you say that? What an idiot!" Let me just explain. Okay, more money in terms of if you could get a better job, higher pay, more income, more certifications. That's great, but a lot of people think more money just means buying something that they think will go up, a stock or a crypto, a pandemic stock, a pot stock, an artificial intelligence stock, a vaccine stock. It just, an internet stock from a long time ago. People think that if they can take this undue risk, that they will make so much money that it will eliminate the need for any kind of planning. It will take care of a lifetime of bad personal finance habits, and it never works. It's like buying a lottery ticket. It's worse than buying a lottery ticket, because you expect to lose $1 or $2 with a lottery ticket, but with this kind of investing, people do this over and over. It's called the Sunday punch investing strategy, and we know it doesn't work. Look, if you get in the boxing ring with a real boxer, you don't realize how fast a boxer is and how good a real boxer is until you see them fight somebody who's not a boxer. You are not a boxer, meaning you are not an expert trader and chooser of hot investments that will make you a fortune. You are not going to be the next best hedge fund out there. You're not the next Citadel. Okay. You're not the next Ray Dalio. And even those guys have massive down years also. Right. But what happens is people go for the Sunday punch. They're going to put all their money in some new hot crypto, some new shitcoin. They're going to bet on cum rocket, shitcoin, whatever. And that's what they're going to bet on, where they're going to buy Dogecoin, because Elon Musk said buy it. Where I mean, just I don't even look at it. I used to go over cryptos every day in the show. I don't even bother. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to I don't even want to talk about it. It's like so pathetic. Okay, so that's what happens. You go for the Sunday punch because you think you're going to make so much money on one stock or one investment, and you're going to be golden after that, and then everything will be okay, and you'll get your stuff in a row. You'll turn everything around, and you'll get good with personal finance, with money. There's a reason why lottery ticket winners go broke. Most of them go broke. Fact. You know why? Because if they weren't good with their money and with personal finance when they were broke, or when they had very little money, the personal finance problems are just going to be hugely magnified with a lot of money, and they go through the money. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of things. Let's take it to the big board. Let me get rid of the social icons here. Okay, let's just get rid of that there. This is Novavax, down 22%. It's a $7 stock after market trading. And if you look at what it did, this whole thing over here is pandemic. This whole thing is gone. Novavax typically, before the pandemic, was a $5 stock, sometimes a $4 stock. And it became a $300 stock, in the 200s for a long time, in the hundreds for a long time. It's back down to what it always was. Let's take a look at Rivian. Abysmal delivery numbers. Stock was 68, now it's 17. People thought, well, if it's 30, you got to like it. You're supposed to buy when they're down. I hate it when people go, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to buy when they're down. If you think that's all it takes to be a good investor, I mean, you obviously are not a good investor, so you're probably not really playing with any real, investing with any real money, but that's besides the point. The EV battery makers and all that, they got really hot, then they cooled, then they got hot again for like the last couple of weeks. I can tell you there are so many great EVs coming out and so many great hybrid vehicles coming out. Incidentally, I don't know if you saw the new Prius coming out, the new 2023 Prius. You won't believe I'm saying this about a Prius, but it's hot. It's a beautiful car. It's nothing like what you would expect from a Prius. I don't even know why the Toyota still kept the nameplate Prius, but that's another story. It's okay. There's just a lot of really good stuff coming up. Rivian, I don't see it. So maybe, Amazon will still buy a lot of trucks from Rivian one day, but this is a really hard truck to push, no pun intended. Okay, no pun intended. Big truck to push. That's what we used to say about a stock. If there was like a lot of stock available of a really big company, it takes an awful lot of demand for that stock to go up. So we would say it's a big truck to push. When you have just a very heavily issued stock. So Bank of America came out with a report. I'm just going to put this on the screen real quick. It's the I pay for the subscription service for this, so I don't want to share too much, but not because of you. I just I don't know if it's fair. I don't know. Just it's a funny feeling I have. But let's go to this board here. Okay, so Bank of America says that's Merrill Lynch. Let's pick. Here are the artificial intelligence stocks. This is exactly what I said. It's just the big ones. It's Google, which is Alphabet, Microsoft, Nvidia, Meta, Apple. I'm not into Baidu. Then you've got Adobe and Palantir. Palantir is not one of my stocks. I don't follow it closely at all, but I do go over the big tech stocks all the time. And on the show, I go through them all the time. And I mean, that's your big call in artificial intelligence. I agree with the call, by the way. These are the stocks that I would want to bet on if I was to bet on artificial intelligence. The thing is, we all own these stocks already because they're such big chunks of the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100. By the way, you can't invest directly into an index, but you could invest in a security that tracks or mimics an index. One way or another, pretty much every investor has them. They're in mutual funds. They're in exchange-traded funds. They are big components of major popular indexes like the NASDAQ 100, the S&P 100, the S&P 500. So to me, it just reinforces what I said to you a couple of weeks ago. Remember that news when Microsoft bought a piece of that company, AI? The name evades me for a second, but we all know when Google made that mishap and they had this demonstration and they weren't ready for it. Anyway, the point is, I said, if you want to bet on AI, bet on the companies that are developing it, that are going to use it. Eventually, just like the internet, we used to say, people wanted to bet on internet stocks. Eventually, every company became an internet stock. I mean, you buy sneakers, you buy Nike sneakers, you buy cereal. Every company is an internet stock today. And if they're not going direct to consumer, they're on the internet business to business. So soon, every company is going to be an artificial intelligence company. All your marketing, it's all going to be using artificial intelligence, all the keeping track of what your customers want, what you think, what they want next, how their behavior changes. It's often said that Google knows what disease you have before you're even diagnosed by a doctor because you're looking up certain symptoms and Google could start to figure it out. Anyway, those are the names that Bank of America is calling for the artificial intelligence wave. There's NVIDIA is in here. These are the stocks that you and I have been talking about. I'm glad we beat them to the punch. Okay. I want a little props, a little pat in the shoulder, pat in the back. Okay. A little props that we were on this early, and it's exciting stuff. What else? Let's take a look at the major averages. We kind of skip this part. I usually do this part first. Okay, so the Dow is down 232 points, NASDAQ down 11 points, S&P down 12. The Dow is down most of the day, but the S&P and NASDAQ were up most of the day. It was just kind of it's a lackluster day, but a negative day because major averages were up a little bit yesterday, a tiny bit after a couple of tough days. February is closing today. Today is the 28th. I think next year, is actually the leap year, February 29th for next year, for 2024. But the market's not really showing much strength. Now, there's still a school of thought out there that believes that inflation is going to really come down quickly and come down hard. We'll see. I think that keeps getting pushed further. The Fed itself kept saying inflation is transient. And this thought process that inflation is going to come down keeps getting pushed out further and further. Now, inflation is coming down. It was over 9%. Now it's running at about 6.5%. And we could very well see it go down to 5.5%. But it's the rate. If it takes a very, very long time to bring inflation down, just so slowly, I don't think that helps the market. I think investors need to see inflation tumble. It has to happen quick, or the market's not going to respond in a good way to lower inflation. The market will respond to rapidly falling inflation in a good way, but not very slowly falling inflation, in my opinion. Okay, oil was up a little bit. Still, oil is roughly in the middle of its trading range between low 70s and low 80s. The big story of the day, I think this is really the big story, is interest rates, in particular the 10-year. The 10-year traded up to about 9.95. I'm sorry, wow, can you imagine? Let me slow down. The 10-year. By the way, if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, or if you just want to say hi, where you're watching from, are you listening in your car, you're watching at home, in your office, let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you. It is the best part about what I do. Don't be bashful. If you don't mind giving us a thumbs up or a heart or a wow, whatever reaction is available to you, depending on which social media platform you're watching on, that always helps spread the word to the rest of your contacts about the good work we're doing here. This is educational. If you want to take this conversation further on a one-on-one with me, no obligation, but if you want to take this to a one-on-one, reach out. You can contact me through clientfirststrategy.com or send me a DM because you're watching me on social media, and we'll set up a time. We'll talk. Look, most of the time people want to talk to me. They've got a quick question, or they just kind of want a quick second opinion about doing something right or wrong, and they go their merry way, and they keep me in the back of their mind if they need me down the road. Some people want to sign up as a client immediately, but most just want to talk, ask a quick question, and go their merry way. And that's okay. This is all about investor education, helping people out. The more you give, the more you get, and it's the way the universe works. I always tell my kids, them, don't worry about who you do a favor for. Don't worry if they did something for you, because somebody will do something for you. So when you do something for somebody, you'll get it back, but it doesn't necessarily have to come back from the same person that you did something nice for. It just comes back to you from somebody else. And that's just the way the universe works. Anyway, so interest rates have been creeping up. The 10-year hit its highest level since like last November. And, we're very close to hitting 4% on the 10-year yield. The 10-year treasury coming to a yield of 4%. Some people think we hit 4%, we're going right up to 4.5%. Some people think we hit 4%, we're bouncing right back down to 3.5%. We don't know. I'm not changing any of my investment plans or financial plans for myself or for my clients based on if the 10-year yield hits 4% year term or not. We're focusing on what counts. Investing every month, paying yourself first, meaning save your money when you get your paycheck. First, set your savings aside, your emergency money aside, and then invest a little bit. And then the rest of the money is for you to spend your bills, your discretionary, what have you. That's the way we roll. At Client First Strategy, at Be the Boss of Your Money. Is there anything else to look at? No, that's about it, guys. So this is a good, fast-paced show. I'm going to keep the shows down to, about 20. We're now 21 minutes, but maybe we'll get them down to 16 minutes one day, 15 minutes. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will let you go now, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow afternoon. Don't forget, I am on Money in the Morning with Mitch Goldberg. It's a live radio show on LI News Radio, 103.9 FM. If you don't get it, or if you're not in the listening area on Long Island, or if you're just not in your car, it's not convenient for you to listen to the radio, you can download the LI News Radio app and listen from the app. And I will be posting all of my shows on YouTube between tonight and tomorrow. It's just been a project to get all those together into a formatted way so I could put an MP3 onto YouTube. I did it, though, and by turning them into videos. So it'll be really cool. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.